I'll come by probably tomorrow to figure out how to fix it. I may have to see some uninstall the update. I saw some complaints literally just this afternoon about an update, so. Hey, come get our neighbors.
Yes, sir.
Call the meeting of Madisonville Town Council, March 11th, 2026 to order.
Councilman Haddocks,
Present.
Councilman Bounds, Councilman Dennis,
Present.
Councilwoman Faison,
Present.
Councilman Ogle,
Present.
Mayor Pilar.
Present. I ask everyone to silence their phones, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Councilwoman Faison, and the pledge by Councilman Haddocks.
Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us assemble this evening. Please guide us in all of our decision-making and discussions and help us make the decisions necessary to help keep this town running as well as it has been until this day. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council would ask for approval if no changes, corrections, or additions to the February 11th, 2026 Town Council meeting minutes and February 25th, 2026 Public Committee meeting minutes. Do I hear any changes, corrections, or additions to those? Hearing none, they're passed. Also, approval of the January 2026 financial reports. Is there any changes, corrections, or additions? Hearing none, they're passed. At this point, there's a public comment period. Members of the audience will have 3 minutes to make a statement or express a concern at the outset of the meeting. Anyone having or expressing a concern tonight may or may not get an answer due to the fact that the council is hearing the concern for the first time. All statements will be considered and everyone will receive an answer in the near future. Is anyone here to speak to the council? We do have one person on the agenda and one person that I'm going to amend the agenda for. But Wayne, I think you're on the agenda, so if you would, you can come up and introduce yourself.
Thank y'all for having me.
You are.
First, I want to say been going to a lot of council meetings. Y'all have a nice building. I think they put us in a locker room in another town that I won't mention. It was pretty shady. But just want to come out and introduce myself. I'm just down the road in Roberts, not far from here. Decided to run for Public Service Commission, District 1, which covers all this parish, along with 9 other parishes. Just want to let y'all know that, like many of us, I believe our utility bills have skyrocketed, and our service is not reliable enough. I just want to spread the word that I'm running and appreciate any support, and also to let you know that I'll have my cell phone number out in the public. I'll be here. Any call or anything, anytime. And again, I appreciate y'all having me. Thank y'all very much.
Wait, when is the election?
The primary is May 16th. Runoff will be in June, and then the general election in November. There's 5 Republicans in that primary, only 1 Democrat, so they go straight to November.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck to you.
I'd like to just say something. I've known Wayne for the better part of 20 years now. Nearly 30 years ago, he was my husband's first boss. My husband to this day talks about the quality of human being that Wayne was, as well as what a fantastic manager he was at I-55 many years ago. When he came to Chris and I and said that he was going to run for Public Service Commissioner, and he wanted my endorsement, I said, oh, we got to meet and talk first. I got to know that there's a thought process behind this, not just that you're upset about your utility bill, because everybody is. And we met, and he actually has a plan. He's been attending meetings, and he knows what's going on. And I think it would be refreshing to have someone like Wayne serve the community, 10 parishes. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that he's highly endorsed by myself. And thank you, Wayne, for coming tonight. Appreciate
Let
you.
you know I didn't even have to pay for that.
Kristen, I-55 was one of the early internet service providers, wasn't it?
Yes.
And we eventually took it to a full-blown telco.
Okay, I'm going to ask to amend the agenda because the next person I'm going to ask up is Lisa Ward. And Lisa was supposed to be on the agenda, and it was an oversight by me. So if somebody would amend the agenda just by taking...
Move to amend. Move to amend. Second.
Councilman Ogle made the motion, seconded by Councilman Haddock. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Lisa, please go. Lisa is the president of the Covington Public Art Fund. And there's a very exciting time for the public art, and she'll explain what she's going to be doing throughout the parish and also here in Madisonville.
Yes, thank you so much, Mayor, and for everyone for allowing me to speak with you tonight. So I'm the president and founder of the Covington Public Art Fund. We are a nonprofit, and our mission is just to facilitate in whatever way we can any type of public art that is in the public sphere for the benefit of our citizens. And our next project, we've done 3 other projects in Covington, but I heard about this traveling bronze, life-size bronze sculpture exhibit and got in touch with people in New Jersey, and we were able to make it happen that it's coming here. It's called Art Imitates Life, and we have 15 life-size painted bronzes of everyday people doing everyday things. So it's very approachable art. I think it will resonate with all kinds of people. And when I told the Lieutenant Governor and the Tourist Commission about this idea, they were like, that's awesome, but we would like to be involved because we want to help you market this within a 3-hour driving range of the North Shore and get their media savvy and their resources behind this as well. But they didn't feel like that was great if it was only happening in Covington. So I said, well, give me some more money and I'll see if we can get some more statues. So now this exhibit will be in Madisonville. We'll have a statue in Mandeville, Avita Springs, and Old Town Slidell, in addition to Covington. So I just brought a couple. This just gives you an idea of the types of work that Mr. Seward Johnson, who was a grandson of one of the founders of Johnson & Johnson, he's now deceased, but there's this foundation that has his work, and they exhibit these statues all over the world. So the one that was chosen by the committee for Madisonville, and it will actually be here at this complex, is called Embracing Peace. And you'll probably recognize it because it's a famous 1940s photograph of the end of World War II. And like I said, it's life-size, it'll be right out in front, and each town, we hope, will, kind of put their arms around this, help it be promoted. All of these will be on maps. We want people to go from place to place. The Avita Springs and Mandeville ones are on the trailhead, so you can also get to them by the bike path. The mayor had some great ideas of, at the unveiling of this, there could maybe be an art market. We do want to have a fundraiser. I'd love to see dinner under the stars with the local restaurants. Just celebrating the fact that this is here. And we're going to have these for a year. It's $2 million worth of art. So we are still actively raising funds. It's not costing us $2 million, thank goodness, but we are still fundraising for it. But it's going to happen, and I'm just excited that Madisonville is going to participate with us in this. And any ideas anybody has, any fundraising ideas, we are all ears, and I really appreciate the opportunity to share this with other cities.
And when will it be here?
So the end of this month. I'm waiting, I should hear next week the actual delivery date. So end of month, 1st of April. And like I said, it'll be here for a year.
We're very excited to meet with you and talk to you about this, and excited to be one of the sites for the art. And we do have some plans, and we're trying to work with you to do the unveiling, and it's an exciting time. Yeah.
It is, and I think it says something about communities where their focus is, and that they appreciate the quality of life that public art can bring. So we're super excited about it, and I know I will be around here a lot more, and I look forward to that as well.
And I do like the one that you selected for Madisonville.
Well, and they loved it because it had the little sailor hat, and everybody was singing the river and the Maritime Museum. It just kind of fit nicely. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Public comment?
John Brusher, 105 Rampart Street. Couple things from, last meeting. I had asked a couple of questions. One was to put on the agenda full house water filters for discussion. I don't see it on the agenda. And the second question that I had asked was about the legality of putting 3 million gallons of chlorinated water directly into the river. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to review that or not, but I would also like to hear an answer to that, but I guess my public comment is going to be centered around my continued request for a formal root cause analysis, and we seem to not be able to get there. So I started my own root cause analysis, and I'll be glad to share that with everyone. It's certainly not finished. There's a lot of work that goes into one to be done correctly. A couple of things of note. We've been discussing a lot about the south well and the north well and the manganese that it produces, and the groundwater, which we all can agree that the chlorination of the water is causing the manganese to turn brown. It's and drop out a solution. The one thing that was troubling me and what I started looking into was the fact that the manganese is below the recommended concentration to to add polyphosphates on that well. So I remember having quite a few discussions about, since the well produces such a small amount of manganese, why do we continue having all this brown water? Through the root cause analysis that I'm doing, one of the answers could potentially be reactivity. So not only does the chlorine react with the manganese, causes it to turn brown, drop out of solution, but it's my understanding, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, that we have PVC, asbestos cement piping, and cast iron piping that supplies the water. So in looking at, I talked to Kyle about the type of disinfectant agent we're using, and it's chlorine gas. So in doing some quick research, far from over, the chlorine gas actually degrades the carbon steel and the cast iron piping, creating iron oxides. So to me, that's worthy of investigation, because it doesn't explain the fact that the well produces a small amount of manganese, but yet we continue to have all these brown water problems. But the chlorine gas reacting with the carbon steel and the cast iron piping could be causing the iron oxides, which then again creates the brown water effect. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to recommend that we try to do some additional research. I believe we should collect specific scientific data before we go out and spend $9 million on a new water well and a water tower, when there's no guarantees that a new water well is not going to produce manganese. So I think there are other things, Jane, that we can look into, and I'm certainly happy to share this with
I
you.
wish you would submit them in writing.
Yeah, I will.
We can look at that. Yeah.
I will.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Mayor,
Two.
we can put the filters into the water system improvement plan for discussion. The other question that John,
Water filters into what?
just include as a point of discussion when we talk about the water system on the
Well,
agenda.
actually, it was in last month's meeting.
Right.
And it was not discussed, but it was in last month's meeting, the committee meeting, for discussion.
I was here for the council meeting. I thought it was going to be after the council meeting.
It was-
a committee meeting.
It was on the agenda for the committee meeting. And there was no discussion on, no one brought up anything.
Oh, no one brought it up.
No.
Yeah, the other
Second
issue.
thing, go ahead.
The other issue was about discharge of the chlorinated water from the splash pad. Is that really? Yeah. So, John's given us a lot of input as we've gone through this evaluation of the water system, and I appreciate it. I've done my best to keep up with everything that he's asked for, and I've shared plenty of information with him. One of the things that I did recently was I reached out to the executive director of the Pontchartrain Conservancy to ask her specifically about the splash pad. Her response to me was that she doesn't believe that we need a permit. And then when I asked her about the discharge into the river, she said it's a good question, but she doesn't think it's an issue for the river. So that's just coming from her.
Yeah, thank you very much. And also, we have someone here tonight that I'll call up, and he can also answer that question, because we reached out to him, David Curtis. David, if you'll come up. David is president, what are you, David?
No, I don't know. We don't
You're
do
the
the
owner?
titles.
Owner of
Family business.
Curtis Environmental
Yes,
Services.
sir.
And the question was asked of him, and he has some experience with this. You want to share that?
Yes, so Kyle actually reached out to me and asked me about it. We rode by it, was it last week, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago we went and rode by. I had designed, I'm a Class 4 wastewater operator, professional engineer. I have designed splash pads. We also do, municipalities like y'all. I even reached out to DEQ because I was not aware of any legislation or any requirement that you had to have it, and DEQ did confirm there is no requirement for any type of permitting needed for a splash pad, regardless of where it goes or where it's draining into the tributaries around here. It is not in any way require a permit. So there is nothing that's needed out of it.
Thank you very much.
So
Thank you. That's what we will ask you for. Okay. Anyone else to speak to the council? Yes, ma'am.
Takes me a moment, but I'm familiar with the path. All right, Stacy Domain, 103 Renee Street. Okay, first of all, here's the brown water that I caught on Tuesday. Very excessive manganese in it. And I'm going to say again why we have the excessive manganese in the old pipes. I went to meetings with the previous mayor, Peter Getz. My mother called about low water pressure after she died in '07. I called. Nothing was ever recorded. But every time the school, Madisonville Junior High, was closed, the water pressure dropped in half the entire weekend, or holidays, or whatever. Mayor Getz lived on the south side of town, and he operated Braddo's Malt Shop. And he wanted to make sure that the water pressure was adequate for all of the business on the weekend. On Monday morning, he would call my cousin, Buddy Cooney, and tell Buddy to go raise the water pressure because sometimes Madisonville Junior High did not have enough water pressure to flush the toilets. It's a problem. Now, over 3 years ago, I went to Mayor Pilot and said, this is the article I found in the newspaper, and Jean, you made a copy, and Jean had been applying to this. The state of Louisiana has recognized that there are small towns and communities that do not have the financial wherewithal to change the old pipes and upgrade their water system. This article is actually from 2021. And this talks about some of the places that had been taken over, what they advised, what they needed to do. And according to this article in 2021, so far 182 water systems have applied. That's a lot of water systems in the state. So what we have in the old pipes is the manganese and the iron that has dropped out when you have low water pressure. I talked to my cousin Bonnie, who is a council person, and her ex-husband Al is a plumber. They sold the family home on, I forgot which street, St. Anne? Okay, whatever street they're on, A. Verma's house. And, but before they sold it, they had to put in a filter system. The filter system was because every time the water pressure dropped, here comes the manganese. And when they sold the house, they advised the lady who bought it this was going to happen. Now, as far as the polyphosphate is a salt used in fertilizer. It is responsible as well for the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico that has been there since before Buddy Roma was governor. Buddy Roma actually applied to all of the states along the Mississippi River to please put in the fertilizers in the fall instead of the spring so that they could do away with the dead zone. The dead zone has increased over the years, now covering, I think, from Morgan City to New Orleans. It's larger, and what happens is that the polyphosphate causes an algae bloom. It's a salt used in fertilizer. You do not put polyphosphate because you wind up with a deadly cocktail. The polyphosphate will turn the manganese invisible.
Please wrap it up.
Thank you.
You've already extended
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.
And
The manganese invisible, and you will be drinking excessive manganese and polyphosphate, which is enough to kill a toddler.
thank you very much. Anyone else here to speak to the council? Hearing no one, we'll move into old business.
Mr. Jean, Slade, were you raising your hand?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Yeah, I didn't see you, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Linda Couch of 165 Pine Creek Drive. I've been dealing with this a long time. I think the first person to bring it to Channel 6 was me, and then 4 got it, 8 got it, and now it's going through its progress again. That this has been on the news. It's, it's been about 5 years now since I completely stopped putting the water in my body. Other than brushing my teeth and things like that, but I've had illnesses, I have unexplained weight gain. Unfortunately, I was married to a lawyer for a long time, so I don't know enough about the law. I don't have much of a leg to stand on. I live on Pine Creek, which is behind the school, Lancaster, and there's only like 10 of the houses, because we are the
Yeah, I'm sorry, what is your address?
165.
Yeah, that's not,
A private entity does, and it's all.
yeah, that's not in town limits. That's not it, am I
It's not
right?
on our well.
You're not on our water well, ma'am.
Okay, they said it's all.
You, ma'am, you are 70447 zip code, which is Madisonville zip code. The city limit ends at by your desire by the post office. You consider
So it's not-
Madisonville zip code, but you need
But
to
it's-
talk to St. Anthony Parish.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we've tried,
Well,
and we've
sorry.
tried, and, the owner of Magnolia came out and gave us this long speech and everything, and
yes, ma'am.
bottle of Dasani was empty, and people were yelling and alarm, and I was like, "Can we get you some water?" Because I don't drink it. He thought it was a joke, and the fact of the matter is, it's not a joke. My property value is gonna change. I'm obviously gonna have to disclose this at some point, but it's off the same other 2 defunct wells.
Okay, but that's not the town's. That's not the town,
That's
that's not a town well.
Madisonville, that's not in town.
That's not a town well,
Nothing.
no.
There's nothing up in Helena.
No, ma'am, that's a parish issue.
Thank you for coming.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll look real good. Okay, now we'll move into old business. First thing on the agenda in old business is the sign ordinance amendment. The sign ordinance amendment was mailed out, sent out to the council. Do we have any further discussion on the sign ordinance? I hear no other discussion. It needs to be introduced, and then it will have a public hearing on it next month, if you're ready to move forward. I need a motion to.
Motion to move forward with the signing ordinance amendment.
Motion by Councilman Dennis, second by Councilman Haddix to move forward with, to introduce the sign ordinance amendment. Would you please take a roll call?
Councilman Ogle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Faison,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Haddix.
Yes.
It passed, thank you very much. And so there will be 30 days before we have a public hearing on that ordinance and before it goes to the council to be passed. Next thing on the agenda is Curtis Park Environmental, the municipal water pollution prevention audit. David, would you please?
All right. So every year we come here, this is something we've come to for a very long time. We do appreciate doing work with the town. This is the annual municipal water pollution prevention audit that is done annually as a requirement of your LPDES permit. And basically what it does, it looks at 7 different parts of your wastewater treatment system and gives you a score. Lower the score, the better, right? It's based out of 560 points, and it kind of looks at 7 different areas. I'll kind of break them down for you real quick so that y'all kind of have a better understanding of what you're looking at and what's going on. And the first part, and I kind of gave you a little cheat sheet on top, just a grading score, that way you can see instead of, you have the document to flip through, but this can kind of give you a little bit of just what's going on. Part 1 looks at what is the flow that comes into the treatment plant and your ability to treat it. How does it come in based on your design flow, what has been done, and what is your BOD load concentration coming in and your plant's ability to treat it. Y'all have been making a lot of repairs to the treatment system. You've done additions with the EQ basin and everything like that, and what you're seeing is that that's actually starting to pay off. Y'all have the ability now that, before you used to get some really high flows and you really had a problem treating it, it was heavier. But this year you didn't have any times that you exceeded your design flow, nor did you have any BOD concentrations that would push your loading limits of your treatment plant above the threshold. So again, you didn't have any 0 points this year. That is compared to 30 points that you had last year because you did get some higher flows and loadings that were not, that were more than the design of the treatment plant. Part 2 is the ability to take that water that comes in, treat it, and discharge it to the receiving stream, which in your case is from the river. You actually did not have any permit violations in 2025 from the wastewater treatment plant. Your average discharge from the plant, if I remember calculating, it was right at a 3. So on a BOD, solids wise leaving, the highest number that you had in 2025 was a 5 on a monthly average. So all of that is well below the permit limits, and again, you had no points deducted because of that. That is compared to 45 the year before, where you did have some issues being able to treat some of that wastewater. But continued improvements in operations of the treatment plant have only improved what is needed. The age of the treatment plant, that is one that unfortunately, unless you do a big project, it always goes up every year by 2.5 points. It was actually reset after the project was done in 2021, and each year it will go up 2.5 points until you go and do more rehab work to the plant. So that went up, that was 10 points, that was part of the 10 points that you got scored on this year. Overflows and bypasses, again, this is, y'all been doing a lot of point repairs, lift station upgrades and things like that throughout the city. This directly shows all the money that you invested back into your collection system is finally paying off. You're not having overflows, you're not having bypasses, you're getting it to the treatment plant is getting treated and we're getting it out within permit limits. So that's great. We had a few last year, but this year you don't have any. Part number 5 is the disposition of sludge. That is the ability to take sludge out the treatment plant. For y'all actually land apply it back into a facility in Kiln, Mississippi. So it's taken out, dried up, hauled off to Mississippi, and they actually use it for land application where they use it for fertilizer in the soil to make corn for animal feed and stuff like that. So pretty cool how it's all reused. It's some of the best fertilizer you can get. So if you ever need good fertilizer for your garden, just go down to the tote down there at the treatment plant, and I promise you everything will grow really good. New development, y'all don't really have a whole lot of development that's changing your design flows. So there was no reason to really have any type of points that were deducted or anything like that added to the treatment plant. Y'all's area is very well contained, so you're not really having these massive growths and things like that. So you don't really have any points there. Operator certification and training, between Kyle and ourselves, we kind of help you out with that. Again, no points, all the training is being done. You have the operators on staff to be able to handle all of that. So overall, you dropped 77.5 points from 2024 to 2025 based on y'all's ability to reinvest back into your system. So if anything, that's great. This is one of the lowest scores I got for a municipality this year. So kudos to y'all for spending money and putting it back into the treatment system. So in collection. So of this requirement, there is a resolution that is at the back of this that basically tells DEQ this was presented to you, and these are the things that you're going to look towards in 2026 to address in that year. Hopefully we can get it even lower, but unfortunately the age of the plant's going to go up, so there's not really much we can do about it for 2026, but hopefully we can keep everything else to a 0. So, any questions?
We've had a conversation about the capacity of the plant and how we are pretty close to the capacity. Have the improvements, I guess, changed that at all?
Yeah, so now that you have the EQ basin, it actually allows y'all to bring stuff in and slowly feed the plant at the design already. So you're not overfeeding the plant. You can obviously treat it in the time frame that it was designed for and get it out. So really right now, you've been very good with all of that. We haven't had any problems.
So David, in your professional opinion, all the money we've been putting into infrastructure repairs, the proof's in the pudding is paying off.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, it's very evident. Like I said, this is one of the lowest numbers from a municipality that we do. We do, I think, about 30 of these, for municipalities, and, this is a very good score.
Yeah, I'd like to note that we got 10 points out of a possible 560.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, we could have had 200 points and we'd still be average, 250 points, so
Yes, sir.
that's impressive.
And look, in the 10 points, you can't really control because every year, unless you do major rehab, it's under there. But the things that you can control, they are doing and doing a good job of it. So, that's something to go back to your staff that works on the plan and make sure everything is being done properly.
So what do we need to do with the resolution?
Y'all just need to vote that, to pass the resolution that everything was talked about tonight and that this is what's gonna be done. It's really looking at what was done in 2025 and what are we also doing in 2026 as well.
I'd like to make a motion to pass the resolution.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Haddock, second by Councilwoman Faison. All in favor? I guess you may need to do a roll call for you to indicate.
Councilman Ogle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Faison?
Yes.
Councilman Dennis?
Yes.
Councilman Haddock?
Yes.
And David, I guess just to point something out, that's the lowest score we've gotten in 5 years.
Yes, sir.
That's it, so
I mean-
that's certainly proof that the point repairs, the repairs to the system, everything is really starting to pay off for us.
Quite the change from 2021 where you're at 120 points.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
all the money that y'all have been getting from grants and the engineering that you've had done is starting to really pay off for the town. So that's good. Very good.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Good to see
You
you.
have a question?
Yeah, David, this is David. Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Hey, great report, appreciate that. One question I had, from, a
You
couple of years
wanted
back.
you want to direct the question to the council?
I was gonna ask him a question. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Go ahead,
Got
use
any
the microphone.
John Bruce, 105 Grand Park Street, again. One of the questions that I had, I didn't hear anything about the residual chlorine in the discharge of the sewer treatment plant, because I know that last year we had like 75 times higher than the EPA recommended discharge rate. So that's under control now?
Yes. Yeah, we made a new, was it August of 2025?
Yeah, so
Yeah, we had to meet a new
So
requirement.
DEQ, when you got your last permit, issued chlorine residual limits, and they're doing it all throughout Tantan
Right.
Parish. The town has actually switched from chlorine dechlor to what's called peracetic acid, which is an EPA-approved disinfection method. They finished up a pilot study, everything works out great. There is no chlorine leaving this facility at all right now.
That's awesome. So, and the reason the EPA has that chlorine limit is because,
You asking me?
yeah,
I'll be honest with you, it's very hit or miss where it's at. It's all about the discharge streams and the receiving streams, how overloaded they are. I mean, while y'all have it here, other municipalities that discharge don't have it. So it's very hit or miss, but most of the time it's about the receiving streams and where it's going.
all right. But chlorine limitation is there because it's fatal to aquatic life.
It can be.
It can be fatal to aquatic life. And that's the reason I asked my question about the chlorinated water going into the Chipmunks River. We may not have a permit requirement for the splash pad, but chlorination of the residual chlorine we know is hazardous to the aquatic life. So that's my only reason for asking about the discharge directly into the Chipmunks River from the splash pad.
At normal operating limits, it's not. I run actually what's called biotoxicity testing, which actually checks the fleas in the nose that are in these streams. Most municipalities with the discharge rates that they're putting out, it does not affect.
Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Moving forward, we have new business, and the first thing on the new business is a job performance complaint. It's my understanding that that's not going to come up tonight, is that correct?
No, Councilman Bounds is out of town, and he wanted to participate in this discussion. I believe it's really more a matter of discussing what the council's expectations are for certain positions. But the discussion may touch upon an individual employees.
Are we gonna, if we're gonna discuss this, we need to, I would recommend going into executive session.
No,
If
we're gonna,
it's
no,
not gonna be discussed, then I'm asking for a movement.
I make a motion to table this discussion till May, when all the council members can be here present, so we can go into executive session and discuss this. Second that.
Motion by Councilman Dennis, second by Councilman Haddock to move this to the May meeting. Is any, all in favor? Any opposed? No, pass. Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is water system improvement plan, requested by Councilman Ogle.
Yeah, so you are all aware, I've been communicating with the engineers that have been working on the proposals for our water system, trying to get some answers to some questions that we've had here at the council meetings, and I've made some progress. So I want to just go over those with you. One of the questions that we asked, actually John Brewster had brought to us some information that suggested that a ground level water storage tank might be less expensive to build, much less expensive, and less expensive to maintain. So I asked Owen and White if that was a possibility. The response I got was a solid maybe. It depends on where we would put it. So as we move forward with this plan, I think it's just one thing that we need to consider. Another question that we had was, can we replace the lines along Old Ponchatoula in segments? And again, the response was yes, but it would need to be done strategically in consideration of pipe restraint and water age. So that is a possibility. We do have a request in for funding, $500,000 to apply toward pipe replacement. So I would just say that this is something that we need to consider. You know, I made a motion to do the pipe replacement a year ago. It failed on a vote of 3-2. I brought it back up in July, failed again on a vote of 3-2. But it's, at this point, the pipe replacement is part of the Owen and White plan, including along that very stretch that we're having the biggest issues with, and where I had suggested we start replacing the pipes. Then another question that we had was, and Tim had actually talked about his concerns about the cost of maintaining an elevated water storage tank. So I have not gotten a response from the engineers on that, so I decided to go look for an answer somewhere else. So I went to the city of Covington, and they actually have 2 elevated storage tanks. And the water supervisor and the director of public works were very informative and actually gave me a tour of their entire facility, sewer and water. And they are currently, they have a 150,000 gallon tank and a 400,000 gallon tank, both elevated. And so ours would be somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 gallons between the 2 of those. They told me that the required maintenance is every 3 years. On the larger tank, it's $29,000, and on the smaller tank, it's about $17,000.
So it's not millions to do the maintenance on?
Sort of.
Where's it painting the outside?
Right, so the regular maintenance, now what they told me was that they do this, they take this every 3-year maintenance and they do it every year. So they're literally doing $30,000 a year on that larger tank, $17,500 on the smaller tank. The painting has been a little bit more difficult to get an answer on, and it's because there are so many different factors. I talked to the company that they use, couldn't really get a definite answer, but the cost on the painting that I saw ranged from in the tens of thousands of dollars to as much as $1 million. And that's painting the inside and the outside. I also could not get a definite answer on how often that has to happen, but the average seemed to be about 30 years. So the tank that they have, the old tank, was actually built in 1958. So that is right at 70 years, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be 68.
Yeah.
I'll be 68 years old.
All right. So right at 7 years, and honestly, it looks brand new. The lifespan, and I think that's probably in part because they kept up with the maintenance and done every 3-year maintenance every year. The lifespan on the tank is over 100 years, the expected 100, 150 years. So this is definitely a long-term investment. I also reached out again to the company Grinder that did the inspection on the Pine Street well, and spoke to Bob, I think it's Bob walked in with that, and he's had 47 years of experience in the water business. The engineers that came to speak to us, with Owen and White and Via, they both urged us to get started on that water well. And so I'm prepared tonight to make a motion that we engage the engineers to move forward with the Department of Health application on the water well, to start with phase 1 of the proposal that they have made to us, as well as get our town on the waiting list for a new well, because that's going to take a year just for us to be on the waiting list. And I don't see any reason why we need to wait on that. We know we already have $1 million that we have been given in a grant. We don't know how much more we're going to get from the forgivable loan. But at this point, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't move forward with getting the permit and then also putting ourselves on the waiting list. So that's my motion, Mr. Mayor.
Well, just in response, one, I would like to hand this out. And as far as the questions that have been proposed to both PEC and to Owen and White, I received this from Owen and White, from David, and all I would ask is that the ideas and questions are very valid questions and worth looking into. However, these scenarios take time and would have to be billed to us. So if any questions are asked of the engineers, they need to go through the town hall and approve, so that that the amount of work and the billing we're aware of. I hope everyone understands the protocol there, and as you read the letter from David, it says, I spoke with Bea yesterday, who said she discussed the issue with members of the council, asking us directly for additional input on the water system. We're happy to provide any additional information you need. Attached is our agreement, which allows for hourly work as additional services. We will bill the time required to respond to additional needs under this agreement on an hourly basis. I suggest that these requests come through you. You sent this to me, to the mayor, so that we know what requests for additional work are authorized under this task order, and so that we don't overlap and do things multiple times. We appreciate the opportunity to work for Madisonville and look forward to a successful project. So he attached to this his billing fee by the hour, and I would say to you that it begins at $300 an hour. So they've received from multiple councilmen questions, and it's to continue to answer your questions individually. Should not happen, and I hope you can understand why. Okay, so if we have questions, they need to be just directed through the town hall and sent with the understanding that we're going to be billed for them.
Understood, Mayor, and I apologize, I'm guilty of that myself. I sent them a letter the other day, but I will adhere to this from now on.
Especially if we're all asking the same thing.
Yeah. But when we applied, we all voted, applied, and agreed to get the loan from Lidacor for the $9 million to do the well, the tower, and the piping. Doesn't that say we put our foot forward? and started this procedure.
Yeah, I'm not understanding what motion you're making for this, because we've all already agreed to move forward on it. We've agreed a month or two ago, so I don't understand your motion.
And I want to further just, and I apologize, but you did credit us all for making a capital request for $500,000, and that's in the legislature right now today. They've got it. Both our state representative and our senator has 3 different capital outlay requests. $500,000 to replace AC pipe, $7,400,000 for a new water well and an elevated tank. And the third request is a road improvement. So there's 3 requests in the legislature right now that we will know the answers within a couple of months. There's also a loan that's been applied for $9,400,000. I mean, $9,400,000 for the same well and elevated tank with some pipe improvement. So we've made a capital outlay request, we've made a loan request, and both, if not both, one or the other will be back within just months. Also, I'll tell you, and I'm not through with it, but the mayor's budget for this year 2027, the fiscal budget, will include money that the town is going to be obligating itself for, a very substantial amount. So all I ask is that we recognize we've made the steps within months, and this budget has to be passed. It has to be submitted to you all within another month. It has to have public input, and then it has to be introduced and passed, and it's got to be passed during our June meeting. So we're very close to doing what we need to do to fix the problem. And to do it or to ask in advance, it's not in this year's budget. So it will be in next year's budget. And that will be presented to you in a month for review. So I'm asking you for your patience of a month to recognize what is being proposed.
My concern is every month we wait, and we've already waited, gosh, we're a year and a half into this process of the evaluation. We have not asked the engineers to apply for a permit, and there are some concerns that they have in the permit process according to the report. The state has to approve our use of the existing 65,000-gallon tank in order for us to move forward in phases. So what I'm suggesting is, and what my motion is, that we move forward with engaging engineers to apply for the permit. And also, we get ourselves on the waiting list because we're going to be on that waiting list for at least a year to actually even be able to work on the well. There's no reason, we all know we're going to do the well, as far as you just said, everybody agreed to it. There's no reason to wait and cause more of a delay than we already have.
Well, understand one, is the engineers have to design the well for public bidding purposes. So, I mean, you're not even close to that point yet. So, I mean, if once we know that we've got the money, and once it's approved, and once it's in the budget, the engineers can be hired. They're ready to go to work. They've done all of the work, and as far as PEC with Fort DeBlata is concerned now, they've done the work and haven't been paid for it. They've done the work, they've met with us to apply for the Lighterport loan. They've been in multiple meetings, they've done all the work right now, and are waiting to hopefully get to work. And there's no reason in my mind why they shouldn't. But we're only months away from completing this. And it just seems like, I'm not sure what, at this point, when we know, we're a month away, you're gonna see it on the budget. and the budget has to be passed by June.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's frustrating, and it's my first time in being a council member back in 2020. And I found out that the government wheels spin very, very slow. And asking for money from the state, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But this council, prior to me coming on board, was already looking at going and buying a new well. And I've got notes from November of '21 where they put in the capital outlay 4.4 million for a new well, right here, written in ink. And then on February 22nd to February 23, it went from 4.4 to 5.9. And every time we keep going down these rabbit holes, it keeps going up and up and up. Now we're looking at $9 million. But we know we need a well, we know we need a tower or a ground elevated tank, which I'm not for now with all the advantages of having an elevated water tower. I know it's a little more expensive to maintain. It's a learning curve for our maintenance department, but it's for the future of our town and future generations and future administrations. We need to put a tower up, ladies and gentlemen. The maintenance can be budgeted. The painting is every 30 years. It's ceramic paint. It'll probably be something else by 30 years from now. But the advantages over an elevated tank versus a groundwater tank, we can have pressure when the pumps go down, God forbid when a hurricane comes through, because we know hurricanes are coming. It's not an if, it's just when. But we're doing everything we can possibly do right now to get everything in the right direction. The first thing from Owen and White is we need a well. And so the well should be dug first before we do anything else. And then we can move in, we'll have the monies to do in the tower, and then we can do the piping. Owen and White stated our number one priority should be a well. We have piping underground that'll handle it right now, and the new flow from a tower with the old piping shouldn't have any effect on it. So we're headed in the right direction. I apologize, I know things it's been too long, but you're also working on a 30-year-old problem. And now it's at the end of its life. So we know we need a well. So that's what I have to say here.
No, I agree with you. The well is the first thing to do. And their theory is that it's likely that well will produce clean water and will supply the entire town with clean water. So it immediately introduces clean water to the system. You say the price keeps going up. So what's the reason for waiting? When Owen White was here, he urged us to get started on that well now. That's what he said. And we've had 2 engineers plus the inspector come in. The inspector said we should plug and abandon the current well. Why are we waiting? That does not make any sense to me. If the engineers are telling us to get started on it now, if the price keeps going up, the longer we wait, what are we waiting for? I have a motion on the floor.
We're not waiting, Lewis. We've already made application for the loan, and because of the town's finances, I don't see any reason why it's going to fail. We're going to get the loan, and then we can move forward. As far as the permitting and everything goes, it still has to go out to public bids once it gets designed. So that's going to be another set of baby steps, which is going to take a little more time. But as far as I'm concerned, we are moving forward right
I
now.
don't believe you can get a permit without first going through the bid process.
Yes, ma'am.
Kimberly Thigpen, 825, 827 Old Punch Stool Highway. I understand you said within a month or so you're going to have all this information move forward, but is it still going to be another 2 years before we get a well? Last summer I came here and y'all said y'all were going to change some pipes in front of my house just to try since I'm getting all the dirty water. Well, y'all said no to that, vote it down. Then you can't even put a bid out for it. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Get some bids on paper so you don't know what it's going to cost. What if that's 2 years with more groundwater I'm getting? Are y'all going to start incurring my water costs? Are you going to start incurring my hot water heaters, my toilets, my white clothes? Where's that coming from?
Just so that you know, had we done what you just said, replaced the pipe in front of your house 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been adequate for the new water well and the new water tower.
If we
They're
started
requesting-
the water tower 5 years ago,
They're
with that
requesting-
problem, we wouldn't be having this discussion
Huh?
5 years later.
And if we had the
spent
money-
millions of dollars on prettying this town up. We painted a car that will not run, so it was pretty. I would rather have an ugly car that would run than a pretty one that doesn't.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You haven't painted
Painted
the
a
water,
car?
you haven't worked on the water, you spent millions of dollars for.
We spent millions of
Millions
dollars
of
on,
dollars on the riverfront, you will never recoup.
we have spent
Your
millions of
ground
dollars
soil is a joke.
on infrastructure, and that's been, I mean,
You did well on the
that's
sewer.
documented. On sewer and water, on sewer and water, and we have it in our budget for next year to spend millions of dollars on water.
Why didn't we start
So-
this process 5 years ago?
Because
when
we
you
didn't have
a
the money.
problem? You
Because
put
we didn't have the
thousands of
money, we
dollars
didn't have the
into it.
request, and we didn't have the loan capability. Now we found that, and we're pursuing it.
Then why do we do?
This is getting out of order, it really is. I mean, we're.
So my question is, it's gonna be 2 more years of dirty work.
I don't know how long, listen, we keep saying a year, 2 years. I don't know when the water well, once it's.
Well, I was here a year ago and a year ago before that.
Well, listen,
And what has been done? Nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
I
A bid is
disagree
a
with
bid.
that.
You couldn't put out, you can't just try to tell me y'all get penalized if you put out ask for a bid. That is such
Nobody
ridiculous.
said anything about getting
Yes, you did.
penalized.
Yes, you did. Y'all said,
Get
yes, you
penalized
did.
for bid?
Yes, y'all did.
Well,
You said you
if-
cannot
if you
send
do-
out a bid and get prices on this just in case something didn't
Oh,
work.
absolutely, and then not do it? That's what was asked. Let's submit it for bid, bid it out, and then we'll decide whether we're gonna do it.
That's not what you told us at the,
That's
that's not what
That's
said
what, that's what
It
came,
was said,
that was documented at the meeting.
Did you send out the bid?
Did I? No,
exactly,
no, it was not voted for.
because you voted it down just to get a bid.
Well,
Well, you two yes boys did, and you.
I'm sorry,
Your 3 little yes men, and they voted with you.
thank you very much, okay.
Well, you could-
There's been a motion on the floor,
I have a question.
been a motion on the floor, you have a question?
Yeah, so is there any reason that we wouldn't begin the engineering work that you mentioned in order to go out to bid, we would need to have the final plans drawn? Is there a reason that we can't start on that part yet, so we can be prepared once we know in 2 months, 3 months? Or further along that road of preparation?
The engineering work,
Correct.
you want to select an engineer?
Correct. If we need that in order to put the bid out, like Lewis has his motion out to start. But what I'm understanding is that we won't be able to start without the engineering work being completed. Am I correct?
Why don't we invite the engineers to next month's meeting and tell them what we want them to start doing?
Do they have to?
Do we know what we want? I mean, do you have definite
It's
direction?
my understanding that everybody on the council is in agreement that we want to move forward with the plan with Bill and
White.
White.
With that.
Right.
The money is gonna be in next year's budget.
Correct.
Okay. For the engineering, for the design, and for the bidding process. But when you sign a contract, all of those, there's fees for each phase
Absolutely.
of that.
Right,
That
so the
design
engineering fee, the
Engineering.
design.
Okay, so, I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of just puzzled as to the necessity for 1 or 2 months to break the process before you know exactly how you're gonna pay for it. And what are they gonna design? Just the well, and not the water tower, and not the replacement of the pipe? What do we want to do? Well, until we know what kind of money we have.
Yes, that is what they suggested to us in the report, that this could be done in phases. They also said the phases could be concurrent if they wanted to.
It was
but-
requested, could it be done in phases? And they said, yes, it could.
That's right, that's why
It
we
wasn't-
started on
It
the
wasn't
well.
suggested. It was the answer to your question. But there's a motion on the floor. Yes, is there any other comment? Please come up before we make a follow-up on this.
Yeah, John Bruce, 105 Rampart Street. I guess a lot of this discussion is kind of making my point. We're not ready, right?
I don't know, it sounds like we are.
I don't think we're ready. I don't think we're ready. I've been doing a lot of research. I don't think we're ready. I'm agreeing with you. I don't think we're ready yet, okay? But last council meeting, you said we had $500,000 for water improvements already in the budget. So I put a motion on the floor, well, I asked to be put on the agenda to have a water filter. Until we should slow down. You have to get all this stuff together by June, right? That's big decisions that need to be made. I don't think we need to be making those decisions without scientific data to back it all up, okay? And what we can do, and it would stop all the noise, is my request to put on the agenda to vote having water filters. Just put a $300 water filter on people's homes on the north side of town. That'll stop all the noise, because the chlorine that's injected in the carbon steel pipe is causing iron oxides, no doubt about it. The chlorine being injected in the asbestos cement pipe degrades the cement binder, which can potentially cause asbestos fibers to go down into our water system. So a simple solution, while we're trying to work out a permanent one, would be to add a water filter to everyone's home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Stacy Domain, 103 Renee. I have been at multiple meetings when I may be the only person there. One of the meetings I attended quite a while back. At that meeting, Kim, you were there, and she was promised that it would, the pipes on Old Ponchatoula Highway would be replaced. That was supposed to go into the budget, but it never actually got there. We got a $350,000 splash pad. We got a $700,000 boaters grid on the riverfront.
Please
focus
it on the current conversation.
I am focusing on where the money has gone and where it should have. We've got a $650,000 flower beds that went through the Regional Planning Commission, not the Highway Department. All of this money could have gone to the pipes. Not one penny have I seen for the replacement of the pipes since I went to your office over 3 years ago. Why was some of this
That money
project?
was grant money, so specifically for those projects, so we didn't pay the 50%.
Half of it.
So a lot, not right, half, so a lot of that couldn't be used for water.
The highway project was 100% grant. That was it was a gift.
And how many times have the planes been replaced on the highway that's
Thank
cost
you
the
very much.
town?
Thank you very much. There's a motion on the floor.
I got a
Councilman
question,
Owen.
and I'm not clear on this, so the motion was made to move forward with the project, which we've all agreed to do, because we applied for the loan service. If this can be hurried up in any way, how would that be? You said, we'll get the engineers to begin design, or to go get permits. But we have to pick an engineering company, don't we? And do we have to put it out for bid before we can put it?
It's a service contract.
So if they're just asking to, well, we have to pick an engineer to get a permit, right?
Well,
How many engineers have you had up here?
I feel like we no, not only like, Fort de Blada.
Okay, so we have engineering, and we want them to get a permit for the well, the tower, the pipe. My question is, how does that work? Can that be done now without the whole scope of the project being drawn out? And
Well, the permit is actually issued when you do the plans and specs and submit them to the health department. That's when they give you the permit. Okay?
so the question is, do we, it's not in the budget this year to have you start doing it.
No.
But in a couple of months it'll be.
A month. 1 month from now, it'll be presented to the council. It will be obvious what's in the budget that you're gonna be voting
It
for.
makes
If you don't have enough, you might wanna put more. If you have,
But
if
they
you're
can begin, at
satisfied,
that point, they can begin design for the purpose.
I don't, we can invite them here to discuss that with them, yes.
Okay.
But I think all we're doing is rushing into something, and we've got everything that, I mean, a loan, a capital outlay request, a loan request, and all it's a show, and it's gonna be solved.
We spoke previously that we are comfortable with using at least $1 million in the utility fund to go toward this project. Is that not right? So that money's already there for us to move forward, to do the design and get the permit and get on the list for the waiting list for the well.
All I did was ask you to wait a month and see. I think you're gonna be more than satisfied. I think well, I don't know if you'd be more than satisfied, because some people are never satisfied. There's gonna be money in the budget to do the project.
So,
And
Mr. Joe, you said it has to have a design and a set of plans drawn before we can apply for a permit, is that correct?
Yeah, you do the plans and specs, okay? And then you submit that to the health department, they approve it, that's when they issue your permit, okay? And y'all agree with the plans and specs, we go out for bids for it. But you've got a loan into Lydia, it's through the revolving loan fund, okay? And they seem to be pretty efficient. And the revolving loan fund folks, I think Bia had talked to them, and they've got your application, and it just depends on the priority of when they may fund it. You know, I think they're gonna fund it, you know. So, you know, usually you just, you try to have your funds available before you start your engineering, but that's up to y'all if you want us to start it sooner.
Correct, that's why I said what I said earlier, when we need to have the funding in place, and that's where the loan's at right now.
Yeah.
And like I'll say it again, I don't think we're gonna be denied that loan. So that should go in hand with the design, the plans, and then the submittal,
Right.
and we're moving
Right.
forward.
Mr. Joe, is there any adverse reason or con to the scenario of beginning the engineering now? You have many, many years of experience.
The only thing is, you know, we would like to get paid if we do plans.
Of course.
We get paid, we wanna make sure that you have the money so you can pay us.
Okay,
That's the only,
and you mean paying you specifically for the engineering work?
I mean, you're paying for it, right? Not paying
Well,
me.
yes, sir. Then, yes, correct.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Well, is your motion, does it, the way you stated it earlier, I didn't completely understand, right? So it includes us beginning the engineering work, am I correct, Louis?
For the water well, so that we can apply for the permit and get on the waiting list to drill the well.
Right, and that understanding, the process, the steps will be the plans first, correct?
Right.
Okay, thank you. I second the motion.
motion by Councilman Ogle, second by Councilwoman Faison. Do a roll call, please.
Councilman Ogle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Faison,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
No, I'd rather wait for 30 days.
Councilman Bounds, Councilman Haddix.
Wait for 30 days.
No.
No.
Okay, the motion failed.
My understanding of the charter is that if there's a tie, the mayor votes to break the tie.
He just did. No. Next thing on the agenda.
Wait, I'm not finished with these updates. So the other big issue that we spoke about was, could we use the money from the 1965 sales tax on this project. So I spoke to the people with the bond commission, I spoke to our auditor. They both were unsure and asked me to talk to bond counsel, which I did. And so the last attorney that we used had retired, but they have a replacement for him. And I sent them information on both sales taxes. And this is also related to Kristen's request that we seek an opinion from the Attorney General. After showing everything to the bond counsel, they are not comfortable with using the accounting definition for equipment. And all of this boils down to a single word, as Bruce pointed out last meeting. What's the definition of equipment? The accounting definition is it's a long-term asset that you're going to depreciate. If the state allows us to use that definition, we're good. Whether it's a water tower or a well or whatever, that's a long-term asset that we're going to depreciate over time. It's even in the water fund. But they're not comfortable. The bond counsel isn't. And I am, without requesting an official legal opinion the way that Bruce had described it, I'm comfortable with where they are with that. Their recommendation to us, if we need the money, is two things. One was, after looking at both of the sales taxes, they suggested that we might be able to move some money or some expenses from one sales tax to the other. And again, Bruce did talk about that last meeting. Or we move forward with a rededication. And my preferred avenue would be a rededication. The process for doing that is you have to get it on the ballot. He said that if we did this by July, so we have some time to think about it, he could get it on the ballot for the November elections. The sales tax itself was passed in 1965. I seriously doubt there are more than a handful of people still living in this town who actually voted on that. The town's needs have changed since 1965. It's been 62 years. This is not the only need we have with the water system. We also have hanging out there a pay scale that we have not implemented yet. And this would give us an opportunity and a rededication to actually address both of those issues.
We have initiated a pay raise with a future pay raise already in the system for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I don't call that an implementation of the pay scale. What I'm suggesting is that we start to look at the rededication to update that sales tax. We can get it on the November election, and it would give us the flexibility to have the money should we need it for the water system, but also to implement the pay scale. I was the only one who voted against that pay study. It was a 4-1 vote. Yet I feel like I'm the only one who's up here trying to find a way to implement it.
I think that Councilman Alex just addressed that. It has come up, it has been addressed, and we're in the process of moving forward with the pay scale.
I did some work, if y'all could bear with me for a few minutes. On the town ordinance, section 28.1, sales and use tax imposed. Pursuant to order number 75, effective January 1, 1966, the town levies a general sales tax of 1% as provided therein and incorporated in this code and made a part hereof by reference. An additional 1% sales and use tax is also levied pursuant to order number 22 adopted November 11, 1987. Said sales and use tax shall be levied, collected, and administered pursuant to state law. The additional 1% tax shall be used for the purpose of maintenance, repairs, operation, and equipment for waterworks and sewage, streets, recreational areas, police department, town hall, and administrative offices of the town. Now, the core legal question in my mind is the ballot language did not include construction, capital improvements, acquisition of land and buildings, capital outlay, then using it for new infrastructure is legally vulnerable. In municipal finance, equipment typically means tangible personal property used to operate, maintain, or support a public facility or department, but not land, buildings, or major construction. It usually includes machinery, vehicles, tools, operational systems, furniture and fixtures, technology, and communication systems. Now, this was all under the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, which all of the auditors go off of. Restricted revenues must be used for their intended purpose. Under governmental GAAP, revenues that are externally restricted, such as voter-approved dedicated taxes, must be accounted for and used according to those restrictions. GASB states, fund balance should be reported as restricted when constraints placed on the use of resources are either externally imposed by creditors, grantors, contributors, or laws or regulations of other governments, or imposed by law through constitutional provisions or enabling legislations. GSB Statement Number 54, Fund Balance Reporting and Governmental Fund Type Definitions, a voter-approved tax dedication qualifies as an external legal restriction. If the tax is restricted to maintenance, repairs, operation, and equipment, then using it for unrelated capital construction would violate the restriction from an accounting standpoint. Improper use creates compliance and reporting issues. If restricted revenues are used for unauthorized purposes, the financial statements may require disclosure, the independent auditor may issue a finding, the fund balance classification could be misstated, it could trigger a compliance violation under state law. This is not just a legal issue, it becomes a financial reporting issue. Under GASB, a new well is generally considered a capital improvement, infrastructure construction, expansion of system capacity. It is typically not classified as equipment. However, certain components of a well system are equipment, such as submersible pump, motor, control panels, generators, telemetry, and SCADA systems. The drilling of a new well itself is usually treated as a construction of new infrastructure, not maintenance or equipment. A water tower is almost always classified as a capital improvement, a structure, or an infrastructure. It is not typically considered equipment in municipal finance law. Equipment generally refers to movable or operational items, not permanent structures. A tower is more like a building, a tank structure, or infrastructure asset. Funding a new water tower from a tax limited to maintenance, repairs, operation, and equipment would be legally questionable unless the tower replaces an existing tower that is failing, maintenance/replacement argument, or the original tax proposition language, not just the code summary, was broader. So this, we have to be careful on, as we always are, on how we're using our tax funds.
Yeah, I would say that's fairly consistent with what the bond counsel told me. But you kept using the word typically, and that's kind of what I got every time I asked somebody. They didn't want to give me a definite answer. But to me, the answer I got from the bond counsel is definite enough, and it is in agreement with what you just said there. The other reason I'm bringing this up is because at our last meeting, we were discussing, well, where's the local money going to come from if we need it, millions of dollars? And at the last meeting, the mayor suggested a new millage, a new property tax on people who live here in the town. I don't want to go that route. I want to fund this from our existing tax revenues. What it means is we would probably have to go to the voters to get approval for it. But it also means that we probably have to delay some of the beautification projects, like the $1 million on the riverfront or anything else that comes up. We seem to get those quite often, for not forever, but maybe for 3 or 4 years, till we get a handle on this water issue. And that's why I'm bringing this up. I'm asking all of you to think about it. We don't have to make a decision right away, but it is a means for us to move forward and free up some money from our existing revenue sources to help pay our portion of this, because this project that Owen and White showed us is just a piece of the project. We haven't even discussed how do we replace the 6 miles of pipes in town, which is going to have to happen over a period of several years, probably decades. But we really ought to start thinking about it now. It seems like every time I turn on the news, there's a water main break across the lake. There's homes that are flooding. It's a disruption to businesses. If we think about those things now, we won't be in that position in another 30 years.
I thought the replacement of water line was in this project.
5,000 feet of the 30,000 feet that O&M Light identified in town.
And didn't they increase the size from 6 inch to 8 inch?
Yes.
Which brings up a whole nother issue. Once we install that 8 inch, using the current well that we have on the north side of town, it won't be able to flush that line.
Yeah, that was a question I asked, and I haven't gotten a complete answer.
Well, we did get a complete answer.
No, they haven't responded to that last. I'll send it to the mayor. If the mayor wants to forward it to him, he can. But the last email, they did not respond to at all.
Again, if you all will just give it a month, you will see a substantial contribution that the town is going to put in the budget to do this work and move forward. All I'm asking you to do is let me finish the budget and submit it to you, and then we can make these comments and we can have this discussion. If you're not satisfied, I don't know what more to do, but I hope that you will recognize and see that the right attitude is being presented to move forward to solve this problem. So, again, you're not looking for something tonight. I appreciate that. Let's just give me that opportunity to submit that to you for review.
Gene, can I make a real quick statement?
Sure.
John Brewster again. Hey, I, for once, am in agreement with you that we need to wait and get all the answers before we move forward. But it sounds like we've already agreed to spend $9 million on a new water well and water tower. We haven't.
We don't have $9 million. We've got
That's
a
what's
$9 million
proposed, right?
loan. We got a $9 million loan application submitted.
Okay,
We've got a $7 million capital outlay request.
right.
That's what.
Okay. So what I would like to see, and I'm sure all of the citizens listening would like to see, how is that going to affect our water bill? You know, one of the few small town perks we still have in this town is a flat rate water bill that's very inexpensive. If we go out and spend $9 million that we may or may not need to, I would like to know and see a cost study to do a cost benefit analysis to find out what it's going to cost the citizens in the water bill and the businesses. I'm sure all of the business owners are going to be very interested in hearing how much of a water bill increase are we going to have.
Thank you.
That does bring up one other thing that I wanted to mention about my visit with the Covington Public Works Director. They keep their water bills low because they actually take $1 million out of their general fund every year and put it into the water system. And that allows them to keep the water bills lower for their residents. So again, as we look at this old 62-year-old tax, are there some other things that maybe, given the current circumstances, make sense for us to go out for a rededication?
I believe if you check with the mayor today, that he's addressing the water rates, and they're increasing water rates in Covington on an annual basis to get to the required amount to substantially fund out, cover the cost of the water system, and that's required. Anything else?
Are you going to vote on the water filters for the home?
No.
We discussed that about a year ago. I don't know if you guys remember that, but we did actually bring that up, and we asked Bruce for his opinion.
You're correct. I had some research and documentation, but it never came up. And so I don't even have that because it's not listed on the agenda.
Right, no, but I do remember you, before you even had that documentation, you, off the cuff, when it was brought up in the meeting, you said that it would be a liability for the town. And that's why you wouldn't recommend it.
It could be a legal liability along with other things. okay? But I would rather have my notes in front of me.
Thank you.
Right, well,
It'd be nice to
we
put
can, we
on.
can discuss that at the next meeting, if that's okay.
Well, I look at the agenda to determine what I bring, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Not on the agenda. I mean, there's generalizations on the agenda, but specifically water filters, I do not see on that agenda.
Thank you.
Water filters was on the last month's
That's
agenda. Anything else, Councilman, on that? Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the master plan.
Me again.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm asking if there's one other member on this council who might join me to do some work to do some updates on the master plan. I'm specifically looking for feedback on the suggestions for the riverfront, getting feedback on priority of expenses, and there was another item on the original master plan that we never decided as a town. And Kristen and I have started to do a little bit of work on this. We met with economic development people in the parish, but it's identifying what type of business we want to promote for the town of Madisonville. So those three items, is there anybody on this council who would like to join me to do some work on that and find a way to get more in?
I don't know that that's legal. I have 3 council on a committee.
No, me and one other person.
Oh, I thought you had 2, you and Kristen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Louis, you and I can discuss that. I don't know what type of commitment you're looking for, but we can meet and discuss.
Moving forward, we're going into monthly department reports, engineering.
Okay, I'll give everybody a summary of the projects for the month. On the first page on the home repairs, you heard the discussion from David, and those are actually winning well. Next page, we've of course discussed the water system. You've got 2 capital outlay requests, and then the Latticore Corporation through the state, they're having the revolving loan fund. So that's all of that's been submitted, and it's in line to be funded.
Mr. Joe,
Yes, ma'am?
just real quick for the record, we never did rescind that request for capital outlay for the well, did we?
No.
Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
no,
It's always been there?
just call them and tell them we need money.
Thank you, sir. That's all I wanted to hear. Thank you.
It was adjusted, and let me tell you, because why? It was adjusted from, I think last year, or maybe it was done last year, when we submitted the capital outlay request for $500,000 for the pipe replacement. We took it out of that, $7.4 million.
Right.
Or it was more than that then. We took it out so that we were in hopes that we'd have a better chance of getting the $500,000 for the pipe. So that was in that capital outlay request with the well and the elevated tank. So that's the only change.
Okay, thank you.
You know, Wayne was here earlier. He shared with me an article from the paper, the town farmer, I guess, about Avita Springs, that they recently had a meeting and decided to move forward with their well. The article said they had asked for capital outlay money going all the way back to 2019 and never got any. And that's my concern, because we've asked for it for several years and haven't gotten any. At some point, we've got to move forward.
And that we have with a request for a loan. That was the additional move forward, is now we have a loan applied for.
Okay. Okay, under the final retainage payment, request number 4 on the town park improvements, tennis courts, and the shade structures. I need for you to approve that. It's in the amount of $44,211.41.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Dennis, second by Councilman Maddox. All in favor? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Pass. Thank you.
Okay, on the Water Street improvements, the sidewalks, We're waiting on the 45-day clear lien certificate from the contractor. And that's the same thing for the 5th Street water main improvements. Okay, the other item was the award of the Pine Oak Estates gas main replacement. You got a copy of the bids, and we recommend award to H&H Projects of Denham Springs in the amount of $192,263.65.
Motion by Councilman Dennis, second by Councilman Maddox. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, thank you.
Questions?
Any questions for Mr. Judge? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's next? Police. Chief.
Good evening. We had a fair month. This is, like I said last month, this is the earlier months in the colder months, so typically our slow winds. We had Mardi Gras festivities, everything went over good with that. We went great and stuff. That was a big success we feel. We had a gumbo cook-off. We worked last week before last. That was very well attended. Much greater attended than what I thought it was going to be. That was a huge event. We learned some stuff this year that we're gonna excuse me, probably next year. I wanted to bring this one traffic stop up. Excuse me, I apologize. Officer Geeshaw, one of our officers here, made a traffic stop for a simple little speeding violation. An individual that's ended up being wanted out of Mississippi for accessory after fact to a murder. So I guess I go back to the old cliche that you never know what you're dealing with out there. It looks like a simple traffic stop, and this gentleman had a hand in a murder in the state of Mississippi, so they were happy to be able to get him off the street. We still dealing with the junior high school students, and I hate to keep bringing that up. I mean, I know it's kind of like a broken record, but every Friday afternoon it seems to be getting worse and worse. I hope there's parents watching, just reacting. All of you guys put some money into our park down there, into our play area down there, and that's my biggest challenge. That play area is basically age appropriate for the smaller kids, and we find that the junior high kids are damaging some of our properties, so we're down there every weekend, every Friday afternoon dealing with that, but we're going to continue to do that. You all may have noticed, I know I've sent each one of you guys a text on our speed trail on Highway 22 that got struck by a vehicle that was totally destroyed the other day. But we did make an apprehension the same day. It was some circumstances surrounding the gentleman that hit it, but very cooperative. But it was a total loss. We feel that we have each one of the trails in each entrance, or basically two entrances to the town, Highway 22, and we have the other on Highway 21, which is basically our two problem areas. And we feel that both of those trailers serve a fantastic purpose to alert the citizens how fast they were going and try to reduce their speed. So we really missed that trailer. We're hoping to get it replaced pretty soon. It just occurred a couple of days ago. I'm going to go into my statistics and we're pretty well going to be done. 2025, we had 88 traffic stops this time last year. This year we had 132. We had 72 citations last year. We had 132 citations this year. We had 31 warnings last year, 29 warnings this year. We had 1 arrest last year. We had 5 this year. Last year we had 0 accidents. This year we had 3. It seems like our traffic's picking up. We are still down, and also we're actively trying to track down a replacement for that. So if anybody's got any ideas or any friends that want to be police, please send them my way. We got some ads in the paper, and we're trying to do the best word about some flyers. So we haven't got any bites yet. We're hoping to get some very soon. That's pretty well done. Stand for any questions, comments?
Is my understanding we've lost 2 police officers, a part-time and a full-time?
That is correct. Our part-time gentleman resigned recently also. Yes, sir. So He was a tremendous benefit to us, he really was. He filled in some slots that we weren't able to fill or just did not have the manpower to fill them. So we're gonna work it out. Everybody's still gonna be safe. We're just gonna have to adjust the hours of the people that we have now until we get someone hired. But yes, we were down one full-time and our part-time recently resigned.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you, ma'am.
Maintenance?
All right, start with the gas system, still relatively slow out in the housing market, only 7 new customers since the last meeting. We finished up Fairhope Phase 5. I think there's still 5 or 6 more filings of that one, so probably halfway through. Got an email, say last week or 2 weeks ago. We've been having the Highway 1085 roundabout the budget for what, two years?
2 to 3 years, yeah.
They sent out an email the other day, just reminding everybody that it's coming pretty shortly, hopefully, that it needs it out there. But, so that's gonna be put back in, for next year also. Couple pretty big customers that we've picked up here. We added one of them today as a paint collision shop off of Highway 1085. It's a pretty good gas user. And we also, I picked up the Waffle House at the roundabout by hand. So it's going to be a pretty well big customer for us. Had a small water leak by Janky in Maine we repaired last week. Also had to change out a sewer pump at the Janky Street lift station. The guys prepped for the gumbo cook-off and garden club show, cleaned up after both of those. Lancaster has had 2 this week. It's about 6 field trip days at the park, cleaning up, getting ready for them. Started working on all the flower beds, kind of getting everything ready for spring grasses. Grass is really taking off. March 30th, we're going to we'll be scheduling our unidirectional flush. So, week before, I'm gonna have a message the office is gonna send out notifying the customers. And then we're gonna have also another message ready if and when we do have to go through boil water because of the unidirectional flush. And school's out, so thanks for.
All right, yeah. So you did end up talking to the principal at the junior
Yes.
high, and they were doing a fire suppression system
On
test,
that
right?
Tuesday. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Is there any way they could let us know in advance?
I asked last time, I think it's kind of when the school board shows up with, and they just kind of hit every school.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have a schedule, but
Yeah.
I happened to pass by and I saw the water.
Yeah, and it just so happened the day before that you and I
Yeah.
were talking about another situation, so, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Last thing, I'll be preparing to open the splash pad, Good Friday.
Kyle, the roundabout you're talking about is 1085 and 22?
22, yes.
Okay, and are we gonna be required to move some utility lines?
Yes.
So what's the cost on it?
Previous $216,000, but they're doing an updated cost for me to see if it's increased over the past couple of years.
And keep it, I'm glad you mentioned it, because it's been in our budget because we were made aware of it by the state that we were going to be required to move our gas line. And that was a few years ago. It's going to happen. What we've been made aware of, and certainly, and just to kind of make you aware also, is that we're going to be having to move our gas line on Parallel Road. The parish is doing an update to Parallel Road. They've approached us, we met with them, and it doesn't have to be in this year's budget because it's going to be in the parish. The parish is on an annual budget, and it's going to be in their budget next year. So we'll be looking at our costs to move our gas line on Parallel Road from Highway 1085 all the way to 22.
And we actually have 2 gas mains on one section of that. We're gonna abandon and consolidate with another one.
And, I mean, we don't know the cost of that yet, but it could be as much as $1 million. So,
We're working with the parish to try to piggyback with them as much as possible on that.
so when we do see the funds in the utility fund that look like we have a lot of money, we do. We're very financially sound, but we do have obligations that we have to come up and meet. And so,
$2 million.
and so, that's gonna be in the future. It's not gonna be all done the same year. So we're working with the parish. It's not something that we knew about. They told us that they were making this improvement and that we would have to move our utility.
You said all the way from 1085 to,
The entire
26.
section of Fairleigh. So Fairleigh to Brewster is gonna be phase one.
okay, the north side, I see what you're
Fairleigh to
saying.
1085 will be the next phase, and they hope to do one in 1 year and one in the next.
Okay, I was
They
thinking
have
about
all-
where
they
1085 hit
They have
22.
a ton of little service roads, there's all kind of roads that's in their plan that are popping up, that we're gonna have little things we have to move right here, there.
I mean, I didn't think about it until you brought up Highway 22 and 1085 roundabout, but that's certainly in our future.
Is there a point where the gas company costs us more than it brings in?
No. I mean, I guess it could, but it hadn't in the past. No, it hasn't in the past. It's certainly been a sound investment.
One thing I forgot to mention, I talked to Ms. Susan Robbins with LRWA, end of May, beginning of June, before the outreach study. She's coming in.
Any other questions for Kyle? Thank you very much. Bruce?
Okay, Mayor, Council, okay, matters that I've attended to during this past month, of course, Mayor's Court, which is not only the attendance in court, but also the adjustment of tickets, almost on a daily basis, dealing with attorneys, et cetera. Attendance at both council meetings, preparation of guidelines for department of community events, including meeting with the mayor and participants in legal research, the working on the zoning ordinance. Now, you all are referring to it as the sign ordinance. In essence, it's a zoning ordinance with signage provisions in it. I mean, I don't have a problem with you referring to it, but I just want to let you know, okay? So I've been working on that hard, and now you have the final document, and I really encourage you to read the whole thing from beginning to end. Research relative to the town's insurance coverage with risk management, conversations with risk management, and conversations with one or two other insurance carriers, research regarding the meaning of equipment and infrastructure, you know about that. Review of town's policy of insurance, telephone conversations with, again, risk management and preparation of one or more forms for mayor's court.
Any questions for our town attorney? Hearing none, we'll move forward to council comments. Councilwoman?
Oh, no, I'm good, thank you.
Councilman Hatt?
No, I like Kyle's been doing some pretty good things in town, and I like what I'm seeing. Stuff being addressed that's broken. I think we're doing the right things with the water, and I think we need to continue to move forward with it. Don't have anything else.
Councilman Dennis?
Just this morning, I just want to say the playground was filled with 2 field trips of kids, and it was just so nice to see them all out there just playing and having a good time. And then they're waiting on the splash pad to open because they're all standing around it. But the gumbo cook-off was a success. The garden show was successful. I just want to thank the police department, the maintenance department, Ginger for what you do, and Bruce for your legal advice all the time. But thank you to all of you.
Yeah, I like that gumbo cook-off had so many comments about how well it went and how big it was intended. The garden club was a success, but that gumbo cook-off, we just need to keep doing more things like that. Thank you, Mayor, for handling and getting that stuff going.
Councilman Owen?
I think I've said enough.
Okay. You know, the only thing I would bring up myself with the comment, working with Ms. Ward, who is the president of the Covington Public Arts Fund, and this project that she has going on. I'm excited. I'm excited for the statue that we're going to get. I look forward to not only the visitors that will visit, but the statue being here for a year. It appears that it's beautifully done, and we are in a planning stage to have it when we unveil it, have a reception and hopefully help the organization raise a few dollars. It hasn't cost us anything, but we hope to raise a few dollars to contribute to their fund for getting the project to St. Tammany Parish.
When do you think that we will have that? I mean, she said it should be here soon, so.
Yeah, the statute's almost, 36, over 7?
I've got to do a little.
We've got to do foundation work.
Works to hold it up.
Yeah. It's very heavy, and it's a great selection. I think most people will recognize it. So, you know, it's exciting to have it. We're planning to do some kind of an art market around it, surrounding it, and maybe just an evening of hors d'oeuvres and cocktails along with that to raise a few dollars to just contribute toward that. Yes?
Chris, you want to tell everybody about the pedestals we forgot about?
Oh, yeah, the pedestals are live, or the payment processing for the pedestals is live. We launched it yesterday. You can either scan the QR code on the pedestals and it'll lead you directly to the website, where you can choose where you're at, see if it's available. I mean, if you're there physically, it should be available, right? And then, you know, choose how many hours you want, or if you don't want any power and you just want to stay overnight, you can choose that as well. It's also live on the website, so if you're not there, you can still go to townofmadisonville.org and, you know, click right up at the top, or on the main menu if you're on your phone. It's a little bit different from desktop to mobile. So yeah, that's all up and running. There's a $1 service fee. There are no reservations. Please don't try and reserve. You're going to get there and be disappointed. Someone's going to be using your power.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a wonderful contribution to the town, and it should be very successful moving forward. So thank y'all very much. Yeah. No other comments? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
By Councilman Dennis, second by Councilwoman Faison. All in favor?
Aye.
None? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I thought you were saying socialist.
So that you can win on one side.
But it's not.
So he was doing, take something to the town, I said, well, we have no jurisdiction over what goes inside, none whatsoever. Whenever we can, give some auditors to say, you can't put that there, you don't want to be a part of it, so they don't have it. It's only single family dwelling and commercial. So would you want to override that? I said, take that to the way. It would be easily done. He'd probably make it a little bit genius. Well, he said he would make it, Well,
one that already.
Oh, around Oklahoma, right?
No, it's literally right next door. Y'all can be watching one now.
I know, but it's one, but I have to. Yeah, but that was good luck.
Yes, correct, okay, yeah, we'll talk to
You're gonna be slim on it.
I'm not gonna keep you sitting here.
No, I wouldn't think so. Tomorrow?
Oh, thank you. Thank y'all.
Okay.